Good evening. Tonight I will narrate a no-sleep story for you. Now sit back and relax. Do not open. Do not open. Once, when I was 7, I had a family gathering at my house. The adults downstairs suggested my cousins and I go upstairs and find something to do. We went upstairs to play on the Wii, but my cousins got bored and asked to do something else. I suggested a board game, and they groaned and said I was boring. I asked them what they wanted to do. One of my cousins got up and asked, "Do you have an attic?" Then the rest looked at me and smiled. "Yeah, why?" My cousins began to jump. One of my cousins suggested we go explore it. At first I refused. I thought that we would cause a mess, or maybe one of us might get hurt. My cousins kept begging me to go. I went downstairs to ask my older sister. She was talking with the adults. When I asked her, she said, "I don't care. Just get out before Mom comes." I went back up. I took my cousins to our attic. I felt uneasy, but everyone seemed to be having a good time, so I tried to lighten up. We came across old things. Albums, rotary dial telephone, old music discs, etc. I suggested we get out since there wasn't anything to do here. Just as we were about to go, someone dropped a box. My younger cousin had dropped a box, and his siblings scolded him. I picked it up. "I'm sorry, I just wanted to see what was inside, but there was no key." I was kinda mad, but we were leaving anyway, so it didn't matter. I noticed the lock had broke. "There was no keys, I'm sorry." There was a jar of keys around, but he was a little slow to even ask. He was only 4, so I didn't go hard on him. I heard my cousin from behind me ask me what was inside. I shrugged. I didn't know, but I most certainly didn't care. They asked me to open it. Knowing there was a lock, obviously it was meant to not be opened. However, they made me curious, so I opened it eventually. There was a book. It was thin and really dusty. Then there was a Boy Scout patch that had "Patrol Leader" on it. There was also some old glasses. Then there was a picture of my great-great-uncle when he was a kid in his Boy Scout uniform, with a circle drawn in marker next to him. I thought it was a bit weird. I turned the picture over and it had my uncle's name on it. No one talked about my great-great-uncle because he was crazy. So he lives in a retirement home far away. My cousin took out a smaller box within the box. "Do not open," were written in black marker on the box. My cousin ignored it and opened it. I thought he was crazy because the box obviously said not to open it. "What are you doing? We're not supposed to open it," I told him. He just shrugged. There was another box in the box, but a smaller, and again with the "do not open" warning. My cousin kept opening it. Every time he opened one of the boxes, he uncovered another smaller box with the same warning. At last he opened the last box. There was a note and something wrapped in wrapping paper. I read the note. "Do not open, do not open, do not open." My youngest cousins began to cry because they were scared. My cousin didn't care and teared the wrapping paper. In it was a small glass bottle. It was empty. My cousin teased us for being scared of an empty bottle. He took off the lid, and the door closed. We all screamed, and my cousin dropped the bottle. A glowing light appeared, and we were blinded by it. I couldn't see anything, but I heard my cousin screaming. For the last time. When the light disappeared, my cousin was gone. My younger cousin was crying on the floor. "Where is he?" I was shaking at that moment. Everyone looked confused. "Who?" When I said my cousin's name, everyone looked confused. My cousin rolled her eyes. "Whatever. Do you have bandages?" My younger cousin's name. Fell down. I looked at him and told them to go to the bathroom. They all left and I stayed behind. I looked at the box that my cousin opened before he had disappeared. I opened the book. The warning that was on the box was also written all over the first page. On the next page I read, Ben is real. Ben is real. Ben is real. Those words were written everywhere on the page. I started breaking into tears. Then I went to the next page. This time there wasn't complete sentences. Glowing light. Ben is gone. No one knows Ben. No one remembers. My heart sank. Then on the next page, I am not crazy. I know Ben was real. I am not crazy. I am not crazy. And that was the last page in the book with writing. My mother called us down to eat. I ran downstairs and asked my mother if she remembered my cousin. She said I was talking nonsense. I started asking adults, but no one remembered. During dinner, I felt uneasy. I was the only one who remembered. Dinner was silent. "Who's Ben?" I asked. My heart was beating so fast. The adults looked in confusion. My grandmother sighed. "I haven't heard that name since your great-great-uncle." Everyone laughed. "He was really crazy. Ha ha. He would scream at us because none of us knew who this Ben was," one of my aunts said with a look of pity. I looked at my mother in shock. "Oh, honey, stop worrying. Your uncle was delusional. He spent most of his time in camp. The wilderness probably got to his head." I cleared my throat. "What happened to him?" They shook their heads. "Nothing worked, not even medicine. So he spent all day in his room, then sent him to a retirement home." My grandmother clicked her tongue. "Can we go see him?" When I asked, everyone stopped moving. "Gosh, honey, he died 3 years ago." My aunt had a face of sympathy. When everyone left, I couldn't sleep that night. I didn't want to tell anyone. I was afraid. My cousin and all the evidence of his existence were gone. He left no track. Not even his siblings or parents remembered him. But I know I'm not crazy. He is real. I never went back to the attic. I wanted to, and tried so hard to forget about him, but I couldn't. I kept my uncle's book and wrote in it, "I believe you, Uncle. You are not crazy. My cousin's name is real too." I sealed the book and hid it away. I do not know what caused Ben's or my cousin's disappearance, but I do know that it wasn't something normal. Pay attention to warnings. They are given for a reason. Not all crazy people are crazy. I am not crazy. My cousin was real. Do not open the box. Do not open the box. Do not open the box. I think I'm going to heed his warnings. I will not be opening any boxes henceforth. At least not if they're written, "Do not open," on the surface. The last thing I want is to be cast into oblivion and forgotten. I can't think of a more sad fate than to be forgotten by everyone who ever knew you. How horrible.